Hey guys, it's Maddie here. I stopped my last video. It was completely by accident. No harm done there. So to answer your question, Taylor, I love your question because it's a question that I've always thought about. I've actually been trying to write. In high school, I wrote a couple papers on that exact situation. So for me, how you relating music or trying to like get sports players, anybody who's never actually done any formal music, actually been a intriguing question just because it's really hard to figure out how to do that. Because when you think of music, I was talking with Brenda about this earlier. Anyways, when you say music to somebody, just a typical high school student, you don't think of classical music. You don't think of band. What's it called? Small ensembles, anything like that. You think of pop music. That's the automatic assumption that people start talking about. But while it's easy to relate pop music as a cultural standard, a lot of high school students don't understand what, like especially sports high school students don't understand that music is so much more than just pop music. I don't, as a way that I want to say it, honestly, it's just trying to surround them with as many different kinds of classical music as you can. That can be listening to a bunch of different orchestral arrangements, whether it's in band, trying to like force them to listen to something that they've never listened to before. And force is a bad way to put it, because in high school, as any teacher, you have to get used to teaching all kinds of students. Like, well, one thing that I've always thought about is when you're teaching secondary instruments, in a sense like guitar, doing music theory. At least that's the way that my high school did it. Anything that's not your normal band or orchestra classes, you get students who've never done any music, something such as just somebody who loves playing guitar, and they just play it for fun, but they don't actually read music. It's actually a fun example of how a lot of people don't know anything about music. I think it's just trying to teach them a bunch of different things. They're obviously, if they're in high school and they don't know what's going on, they're behind in a lot of lot of music because they've never. I won't say never. They aren't used to hearing specific instruments being played at all. Hell, I mean, playing bassoon. Nobody actually knows what a bassoon is unless you're in band or orchestra, and that's the sad bassoon life. Probably same with oboe, but we're not going to talk about that. Let's see. It's hard to try and make a high school student who's never. Maybe one thing that I like to think about is trying to relate what sort of music they like, or if they're related to their sports, and put the two together in a sense. I'll use baseball as an example because in Hinesley last semester, I forget his name. He's always in the band building. One of the graduate TAs, he has a piece that he arranged, and it's an old baseball theme song, back from like I think 1920s, something like that, from whenever it was popular, and trying to relate how all this different music actually can be related back to sports, and all the different music that was played for big sports programs. It's hard to put sports people who've never done anything in band and orchestra into orchestra and band. I don't know about your guys' high school. I'm assuming it's just like anybody else's. We were pretty good on trying to integrate people from sports, all the programs into one, be friendly with one another. But I know schools like Stevenson, I think Caitlin, you won't know this school, but it's one of our richer North Shore schools that their band program's only about like I think 120 kids, and the band kids are sort of excluded from most of the school. They're looked down upon by a lot of the sports kids. It's just, I mean, when you think of that, that's sort of how it works out. It's bad to think of it that way, but I mean, you gotta try and work ways around it. People don't really understand how to get used to putting the two together. Okay, guys. have fun. We can't wait to hear your guys' responses.